So what are some of the pros and cons of using billing guidelines as a way to control your litigation costs? Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I think the word guideline is what's important. You really need to have some trust in the relationship, or it's just not going to work. And I think, obviously the guidelines have to be, there has to be buy-in. I think the point was made yesterday by Ronnie that you really want to have buy-in on the guidelines on both sides. I agree with that. You don't want to have a 50-page guidelines document. No one's going to be able to comply with that. And I think, maybe it's obvious, but having a conversation about it and, getting some buy-in goes a long way. And, without droning on too much about it, they're guidelines. So if you have a large legal spend, you really want to try to hit the important stuff and use the 90% rule, and you don't want your internal people spending hours to try to squeeze a couple of nickels. So, that's where the trust comes in, and I think, I'll echo the fact that, if you start asking yourself questions about trust, then you're going to start looking for somebody else. So you really want to just use your judgment, like in most things.
Yeah, note to self, I think we need to reduce the number of pages in our outside counsel policies and procedures, so it's a good idea. But, I think one point that I do want to make, and I think you said it, is the idea of staff time that is spent in, then further reviewing the invoices to make sure that the guidelines were complied with. We spend a lot of time doing that. I get lots of, emails from, the paralegals and the support staff that help me and my colleagues out. Oh, did you see that this firm billed for this, even though, they should understand from our billing guidelines that they shouldn't be billing for this, that, and the other thing. And then, then that's an email to, the firms, and then there's the forwarding of that to the billing administrator, and then there's the response, and then there's the apology, and then we say it's okay, and then, we send back the invoice, and then they, send back a revised invoice, and then that finally gets paid, and I can't even tell you what happens with the billing after I say approved. So I think that's another whole long process. But, it does take up a lot of internal resource time.